Catalog. So, your community wants to get started with Katalog. In this video, we'll take a look at how to begin configuring the necessary tables. You'll be provided with a link that takes you to a downloadable file geodatabase hosted on ArcGIS Online. Once you're on that page, click the button that says Download. The file you just downloaded is a zipped-up file geodatabase. It contains a set of tables that will help the Katalog app figure out which services to use for your different GIS layers. The file you just downloaded is a zipped-up file geodatabase. It contains a set of tables that will help the Katalog app figure out which services to use for your different GIS layers. Once you've downloaded the database, log in to your organization's ArcGIS Online account. Then, click the Content button in the top ribbon. Drag the zipped-up database into the Content folder of your choosing. You'll select the option to create a hosted feature layer. Make sure you select File Geodatabase as the data type and give the hosted layer a name that will be easy to distinguish. Once the hosted layer has been created, make sure that you share it with everyone. Let's take a look at the different tables involved. The file geodatabase you uploaded contains a master table, a pop-up table, a layer table, and a map table. You can think of the master table as Katalog's entry point to your data. It tells the app the URLs of the REST endpoints for your layer and pop-up configurations. The pop-up table is where you configure which attributes show up on a layer's pop-up when a user clicks it on the map. You will specify both the field name as well as how you want it to be labeled on the pop-up. The layer table is where you configure the REST endpoint for each of the GIS layers. In addition to the URL, this table is where you specify what we call the search field for certain layers. This is the attribute that is used to query or identify features. Some layers also have a configuration table setting that's used to create color-coded legends on the maps. The map table is not currently utilized by Katalog, but is there for potential enhancements in later releases. It's time to start populating our tables with data. I'm going to open ArcGIS Pro and bring in my hosted feature tables. On the Overview tab, scroll down to where it displays the URL for the service. Click the Copy button and open up the ArcGIS Pro window. Under Add Data, select that you want to use a URL and paste in the URL you just copied. The Katalog configuration tables are now added to the map. The first table we're going to configure is the master table. Go ahead and open it up. The master table will only have one row in it. The first value I need to populate is the URL of the pop-up table. I'll swing back to ArcGIS Online real quick and copy the URL of the pop-up table. We'll then repeat this for the URL of the layer and map tables. Don't forget to save your edits. And that's it. We're done setting up the master table configuration. Let's open up the layer table next. Each map in the Katalog app has a set of dependencies and required layers. For example, if your layer table doesn't have an entry for both a park layer and a trails layer, then the Parks and Trails map won't be visible when a user goes to your city. Don't worry. Katalog's documentation will walk you through the setup process for each map. In this example, let's pretend I'm a GIS analyst for the city of Rabbit-Town, Montana, and I'm setting up the layers for the in or out of city map. This map tells Katalog users whether or not an address or parcel is inside city limits. This map requires that you configure 3 layers in the layers table: an address point layer, a parcel polygon layer, and a city limits layer. Let's start with the address layer. In the layer column, I will expand the dropdown and select address. For the URL field, I will paste in the REST endpoint for that layer. You can think of the search field as the attribute that would be used to query addresses by. I'm going to put that field name in the search field attribute column. Katalog's documentation will let you know which layers need a search field populated. For addresses, I can ignore the configuration table column. Once again, the documentation for each map will let you know when this is required. Now, all I have to do is repeat the steps for the parcel and city limits layers. And that's it. We're done with the layer table for now. Again, make sure you save those edits. Now we'll configure the pop-ups. For the map we're working on, only the address and parcel features have a pop-up. There are several attributes I'd like to show up in the pop-up for address points. In the layer drop-down, I'll select Address. Next, I enter in the name of the field. Lastly, I specify how I want that attribute to be labeled. I then simply repeat for all of the other attributes I want to show up in the address pop-up. Next, I'll do the same thing for the parcel attributes. And that's all there is to it. We've configured the master table and set up the layers and pop-ups for our first map. In our next video, we'll take a look at setting up the configuration tables for a layer that comes with a color-coded legend. Thanks for watching. Katalog, just north of Magical.